Hello everyone, Jay Whitner here with Space Headlines. We do a quick review of what's going on in space, and today we're going to be focused on basically the early part of October of 2017. SpaceX was in the news again. The president of SpaceX, Gwynne Shotwell, did a presentation at MIT, and she indicated in that presentation that their plan is to start trying to bring back the second stage of the Falcon 9 starting next year. And they would probably follow a similar path as to the early days of the Falcon 9 recovery, the first stage, with some water landings before trying to land the second stage on a barge. So congrats to them. That'll be a big step forward toward reusability. And Elon Musk is already on record as indicating that they are planning to try to successfully recover a fairing later this year, and they think they'll be able to do that. So in the fairly near future, we might have quite enhanced reusability for Falcon 9. As you may recall, back in the summertime, China lost a rocket. It was a Long March 5, and they've been evaluating that loss and how it will impact everything. And at the big conference in Australia, the Secretary General of China's space program indicated it was going to set back a few things. Most notably, they had planned to do a lunar sample return, their first ever, later on this year. That's probably going to be pushed back now until next year. And they had also planned to launch the first module of their new space station in 2018, and they think now that that's going to slide into 2019. Back in 2016, Bigelow launched their beam module up to the International Space Station. This is an expandable device so that it can be small to fit into the rocket's fairing, and then it expands to provide more interior volume. It's been up at the space station now for a while, and it's performed quite well in the testing that NASA has been doing up there on the beam module, to the extent that NASA would like to keep it for a while. So they've issued a contract. It's in the process of going through the various steps to Bigelow to use Beam for storage aboard ISS for at least another year. And it would seem to me that they're likely to want to keep it up there for storage in the long run. So congrats to Bigelow Aerospace for a big win with the Beam. Next step, the B330. We had the first meeting of the National Space Council. This was a quite interesting meeting. It ran a little bit over 2 hours, and you can watch it on YouTube. I wasn't able to watch it live, so I watched it on YouTube myself. It was quite interesting seeing the Vice President and members of the Cabinet focused in on the space issue. There seemed to be true interest, a feeling of urgency. They had different experts in the industry testify about different challenges that we face. These were from, perhaps you might think of them as the usual suspects, people like Boeing, Lockheed, SpaceX, Blue Origin. But the bottom line is the focus has shifted from talking about going to Mars to actually going to the moon. They are saying that we're going to be sending people to the moon, and soon, and not just to do flags and footprints, but to actually do something serious there on the surface, to build up something which is not really specified, but it really seems like a small lunar base is probably in the offing. So we'll see how this unfolds, but I was encouraged by what I saw at the first National Space Council meeting in a long time. SpaceX's great results with reusability and cost savings are continuing to ripple through the entire industry. And over in Europe, the people that run Ariane 5 have been scratching their heads for a while. Ariane 5 is a great rocket. It has a tremendous reliability record, and it's been a workhorse for a long time, but it's also very expensive. So they're working on Ariane 6. And the news part is that they're now looking into how they can make the engine, the Prometheus engine that they want to eventually use on the Ariane 6, to be a reusable engine, which poses various challenges, of course. But it's good to see the reusability bug spreading worldwide, and they are hoping to have the first flight of Ariane 6 around 2021, although that probably will not feature the Prometheus engine. I think that they're planning on doing a couple of flights with a more tried and true engine before they shift over to the Prometheus. SpaceX had a launch. They flew a Falcon 9 and launched 10 Iridium satellites. The launch took place at Vandenberg out in California. The launch was successful. And afterward, the first stage landed safely. It was the 17th successful landing in a row for a Falcon 9 first stage. The 10 Iridium satellites were deployed in their appropriate orbits. So this was a nice win for SpaceX, and congratulations to them. Moon Express and NanoRacks made some news. If you're not familiar with NanoRacks, they saw a need for a service to help small users get payloads to space, to the ISS, and in the case of CubeSats, to be deployed from ISS. And this is a real need. The paperwork to launch one of these CubeSats probably is significantly more massive than the CubeSat itself. So there's this maze that scientists have to go through if they want to do this. So NanoRacks acts as a middleman, a liaison between the principal investigator, the scientist, the engineer with the satellite, and all the paper shuffling that goes on. So now the idea is they want to have a similar role in taking small payloads to the lunar surface in partnership with Moon Express. So they're going to work together to do this, and they're planning to get started next year. So this is very exciting news, and congratulations to Manber and Moon Express for doing all this stuff, and we'll be watching. This is very cool. SpaceX again in the news. They launched and recovered a Falcon 9 first stage. This was the third time they've done this now. 3 in a row. They've successfully reflown first stages and landed them. This was also the 15th flight of the year, which is getting to be a nice launch cadence. That's quite a few launches if you compare it back to the shuttle era. This was their second launch in the same week. So they're really gearing up for the high launch volumes that Elon Musk alluded to in his presentation in Australia. So great news all over. Go get them. Virgin Galactic in the news. They've been doing flight tests with their vehicle, and these glide tests have been going very well. And because that's been going so well, President Mike Moses says they want to start powered flight tests soon. And they hope to be in space by the end of the year. This is pretty exciting. We're in October now, so they're talking about perhaps they could go to space really, really soon. So congratulations to Virgin Galactic, George Whitesides, and Mike Moses on great progress that they're making. We wish them the very best. We had a breakthrough in electric propulsion. Normally when a satellite is going to geosynchronous orbit, the satellite, is launched into space on a rocket to like a preliminary orbit that then is refined to get into the real orbit. And satellites typically in the past have taken a lot of fuel to make that transition to their final orbit. In this case, instead of taking a traditional chemical fuel approach, they used electric propulsion using Hall thrusters to make this transition. And they made it faster than ever before because the satellite had robotic arms that oriented the Hall thrusters to maximize everything. So This was a big improvement to get it on station more rapidly. But the big news, I think, is they saved 2 tons of fuel. Now, you might think fuel isn't very expensive, and that's sort of true, but anything that you take to space is somewhat expensive. And it's a trade-off between how much money you spend, how long you can be on station, your operational lifetime, how much electronics you can take, all this goes into a big bundle. So if you save 2 tons of fuel, that's very big news. So congratulations to them on their successful use of electric propulsion and breaking some records. That's it for our coverage of early October 2017. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next time.